Gillette Cavalcade of Sports is on the air.
To look sharp every time you shave, to feel sharp and be on the ball, just be sharp. Use Gillette Blue Blades for the quickest, slickest shaves of all.
Cream of the cowboy athletes go out California way for the 37th annual Salinas Rodeo, a 4-day festival of bronc busting and steer wrestling. Here's the first contestant out of the chute. The idea is to stay aboard these broncs 10 seconds, but contestants swear it's the longest 10 seconds in the world. "17-year-old Billy Jesperson riding Honest John, who seems a bit reluctant. Come on, horse, says Billy. Okay, says John. Result, one very shaken-up cowboy. And this critter is named Buzzsaw. It's easy to understand how he came by that handle. But Cowboy Bob Maynard seems to have hit the right formula. He's sticking like glue. Each contestant must pay an entry fee. For this treatment, you pay money. The Brahma bull riders must stay on 8 seconds to win, but they can use only one hand to hold on to the bull. Some of these cowboys have worked their way through college using rodeo earnings to pay their tuition. It's certainly lots tougher than selling magazine subscriptions. Yes, sir, rodeo cowboys get around a lot. They travel in the best circles.
Look sharp, feel sharp, be sharp and listen, mister. How are you fixed for blades?
Do you have plenty?
How are you fixed for blades?
You'd better look.
Please make sure you have enough, 'cause a worn-out blade makes shaving mighty tough. How are you fixed for blades?
You'd better check.
Gillette Blue Blades we need.
Oh, no blades.
Razor blades you can't buy in your bathroom.
No, not one.
And it's far from funny when you find you're out.
So true.
So be sharp. Invest a small amount of money.
In Gillette Blue Blades, the kind we shout about.
How are you fixed for blades? Go get a carton.
Gillette Blue Blades we need.
This week, the luxury liner United States docked in New York, bringing home the world's greatest competitive golfer. A man who captured the hearts of England and Scotland with his magnificent victory in the British Open. Bantam Ben Hogan and his wife Valerie returned to face one of the most enthusiastic welcomes ever given a sports figure by the American people. On shipboard, Hogan faces a battery of newsmen and cameramen who pepper him with questions.
Well, I must say we're happy to be back here in New York, and the reception here has just been wonderful, along with that we have had over at Carnoustie, Scotland. They couldn't have been nicer to us over there, and of course we're extremely pleased that I won the tournament.
Ben, did you ever have a chance to try the smaller British ball?
Well, yes, I played it back in 1937 or 38, long years ago, but didn't have much of a chance to really give it a try until I went over there. The ball goes much further than ours, and for that reason, it's a little easier to score. However, we used to have it over here, and they changed it to a little larger ball to bring the scores up. They were scoring a little bit too low, and I think if we had it back over here now, the scores would be down in the 50s.
And did you find the game much different over there?
It is a transition for you. They build a little different golf courses over there than we have here in the States. We have target golf here, and over there you sort of bounce the ball up, play short of the greens, and just let it bounce on there. Since all the greens run away from you, and over here our greens are built up where they're looking into you all the while, and their golf courses are very rugged looking, since they just cut a patch out for fairways and build a few greens and tees and just sprinkle a few bunkers around. And I must say that those bunkers in the middle of the fairways were pretty difficult to get around, since they were absolutely placed exactly where you wanted to drive all the while, and you had to find a way around them. That course was extremely tough to score on. And as I say, it's a little different type than we had over here.
Would you like to try for the British Open once more?
Well, I don't know. That's a long way off. Next year is a long way off, and of course, it's hard to make plans that far in advance. Yes, I enjoyed playing over there, and I'm quite sure I'd enjoy playing again. Whether I'm going over next year or not, I don't know. It's just too far away.
Then the Hogans disembark, heading for New York's famous Bowling Green, renamed the Putting Green in honor of the terrific Texan. The Scots were annoyed with Ben Hogan at first when he criticized their famous Carnoustie golf course, but their annoyance turned to admiration and affection when Ben scored his sensational, record-shattering 68 to win the British title. The Scots called him Wee Iceman. More than 150,000 New Yorkers turn out to cheer Ben and Valerie in the traditional ticker-tape parade up Broadway called Hogan's Alley for this occasion. The reception makes the usually unemotional Hogan say, "I've got a tough skin, but this kind of brings tears to my eyes. This tops anything I've ever received." At City Hall, New York's Mayor in Pelletieri presents Hogan with a special citation honoring him as the world's greatest golfer. Today, Ben and Valerie Hogan left for their hometown of San Antonio, where the Texans plan to outdo New York's welcome for Texas' famous son.
It's only July, but football is already in the air at Lake Forest College, site of the Chicago Cardinals summer training camp. Here, new head coach Joe Snider gets his first look at the 6 veterans and 34 rookies reporting for their opening workout. The boys get to work fast, tuning up their muscles for the time when they'll be blocking and tackling for keeps. Coach Joe gives with the theory, and the linemen make with the practice. Hit them high, hit them low, but hit them is the cry during practice. Now Snider looks over some backfield candidates. Quarterback Ray Nagel hands off to All-American fullback Johnny Olszewski. Here's Purdue passer Dale Samuels. When summer is here, can football be far behind?
Southern California sports car enthusiasts have their day in the sun with a 60-mile road race over the Chino airport runways. Pit crews gas up their entries and decide on last-minute strategy before the opening gun. And there they go. The track is 1.5 miles around, only the corners are almost square. The hay bales claim their first victim, but he goes on. All he lost is time. Each driver has his own style for negotiating the corners. This is where the contest is won or lost. Spectacular slides are all right, but they don't often pay off in the winner's circle. Remember, these are all 90-degree turns. Car 57 spins out, creating a mean traffic hazard. Bill Stropp, driving car 110, a Curtis, leads the pack across the finish line to wrap up the race with a time of 1 hour, 1 minute, and 29 seconds. Say, these California winners got some worthwhile trophies, don't they?
Camp Greylac, located in the heart of New Hampshire's White Mountains, is the only camp of its kind in the United States. Although it is run like any other boys' camp, Greylac exists strictly for basketball. Every summer, 85 youngsters come up here for 8 weeks to learn and play basketball under the guidance of the camp director, the great Bob Cousy of the Boston Celtics. The former Holy Cross All-American spends his summers operating a camp for boys who love basketball. Teaching layup shots is a major course here. The fundamentals start with the all-important floor work. The boys watch Cousy and then try to do the same. Look at the coach in action. Remember, Cousy is one of the greatest floormen and playmakers the game has ever known. Bob watches over his students carefully and gives suggestions for improving their form. A typical practice game. The boys try to steal the ball away from Cousy. That takes a lot of doing. Next, an obstacle relay race featuring the basketball motif. Each evening, the boys have a choice of watching feature movies or basketball films. But nearly everybody picks the latter. They just like basketball. College scouts' attention. Cousy's Kid Cagers will bear watching.
Native Dancer is the big drawing card as nearly 40,000 Midwestern racing fans flock to Chicago's Arlington Park to see the big gray colt run in the $154,000 Arlington Classic. The track is extremely heavy as the 8 starters parade to the gate for this mile-long feature. Native Dancer is the favorite, while Jamie Kay, who gave him such a close fight in the Preakness and Belmont Stakes, is the second choice. And they're off. Van Crosby, number 9, ridden by Bobby Baird, charges into the lead. Number 8, Sir Mango with Dave Erb up is second. Native Dancer, taking his time, is 6th. And Jamie Kay and Eddie Arcaro are 7th. Rounding the turn, the Dancer makes his move. Van Crosby and Sir Mango are still leading, but watch Eric Guerin and Native Dancer. Native Dancer catches the pace-setting Van Crosby just before the head of the stretch, and that's all. The Grey Ghost starts rolling in high gear, opening up a tremendous lead over the rest of the field. Sir Mango takes second place and Van Crosby third, but all eyes are on Native Dancer as he breezes to a 9-length victory, the widest margin of his racing career. A heavy track fails to phase Native Dancer, who collects some $98,000 in first prize money and becomes the 5th highest money-winning horse in history.
Folks, meet a hard-hitting outfielder, Big Wally Westlake.
Howdy, fans.
How come the whiskers, Wally?
Oh, I'll shave after the game.
Looks like a pretty tough beard.
Certainly is.
Suppose you ease it off later with this Gillette Super Speed.
Sure.
You know how it works?
I should. It's my favorite razor.
Show the fans.
Open it. Hook on the blade. Close it.
Thanks, Wally Westlake. Enjoy your shave.
It'll be quick and easy. That I know.
Men, for matchless shaving comfort and convenience, buy a Gillette Super Speed razor. complete with blue blade dispenser and new streamlined styrene case that opens at a touch. It's priced at $1.
America's Wimbledon winners go after the National Clay Courts Championships at Chicago's River Forest Tennis Club. Maureen Connolly serves from the far court against New York's Althea Gibson in the women's final. It's Connolly's point as Miss Gibson nets the return. Little Mo easily wins the first set, 6-4, and piles up a commanding lead in the second. Althea Gibson serves from the far court. Maureen, demonstrating the same brand of top-flight tennis that won her the Wimbledon crown 3 weeks ago, takes the deciding point to win the second set, 6-4. 18-year-old Mo Connolly adds another tennis title to her already impressive collection. Another teenager, national intercollegiate champ Hamilton Richardson of Louisiana, meets top-seeded Vic Satius for the men's crown. Richardson, serving from the far court, is 19 years old, a junior at Tulane University and a member of America's Davis Cup team. Satius driving volleys are too much for him, however. Richardson serves. The youngster boasts a good all-court game. Satius, as you know, won the men's singles title at Wimbledon this year. Young Richardson tries his best, but Satius keeps him off balance with his deep drives and short chops. Satius came from behind to defeat defending champion Tony Trabert in the semi-final round of this tournament. Match point as Satius serves. Richardson rallies briefly in a desperate bid, but Satius, outstroking him all the way, takes the match 5-2, 6-4, 6-3 to win the National Clay Courts men's title. And now here's America's top tennis ace, interviewed by Jack Angel.
Vic, it's a real pleasure to shake hands with a champ here. This is E. Victor S-E-I-X-A-S Jr. The junior I can take care of, but how about the other? How do you pronounce it?
Well, that's Satius, Jack. Just like spacious without the P. That's the easiest way I know to describe it.
The mighty famous name in tennis, particularly after today. You've disposed of the National Clay Courts, and you're the Wimbledon champion. Is that your biggest one, Vic?
I would say so, Jack. Yes, it's the unofficial World's Championship, so it's considered the biggest.
It must be quite a thrill to go up to the net for a volley and smile up at Queen Elizabeth.
Well, it is. She unfortunately didn't come out this year, but several other members of the royal family were out, as they always have been.
Well, Vic, speaking international tennis, how about the Davis Cups this year? You were the playing captain last year, and you're the anchor man this year. Are we going to take that thing back from Australia, or is it too big to carry?
Jack, I think our chances are excellent this year. Sedgman and McGregor, as you know, are now out of it for the Australians, so that's a pretty big gap for them to fill, and I think we'll be even stronger than we were last year with Trabert playing full-time now and Ham Richardson on the upgrade, and I've been playing a little bit better, I think. So I look for very favorable results this year.
Vic, you played all over the world on all different kinds of courts, on all different kinds of surface, clay, grass, for all I know, terrazzo and terracotta. Which is your preference?
Well, Jack, my preference is good grass courts, such as you find at Wimbledon and Australia, and our best ones are here at Forest Hills.
Does it make a lot of difference which surface you play on? What kind of game?
Well, it does make some difference. The style of game that you have is usually better on a certain surface. Serving and volleying, attacking style of game is usually much better on a faster surface like grass than it is on these clay courts. But if you're playing well, as I say,
it doesn't make
not
any
much difference which surface you're on. You enjoy it.
It was a mighty fine surface job you had out here this afternoon.
Well, it was mighty hot, I'll say that.
Vic, it's awful nice to talk to you. I hope the next chat with the champ we have is when you win the Davis Cups.
Thanks, I hope so.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Let's visit Ebbet's Field for a close-up look at the league-leading Brooklyn Dodgers. Entering the dressing room, the first player we see is shortstop Wee Reese, the team captain. Pee Wee's stellar fielding and .282 batting average are a big factor in Brooklyn's pennant drive. Backstop Roy Campanella, better known as Campy, is one of Brooklyn's big batting guns. Campy's hitting at .304. He's third in the league home run hitting contest with 24, and second in the runs batted in department with 84. He just lost the RBI lead to teammate Gil Hodges, who has 85. Gil has made one of the biggest comebacks of the year by snapping out of his long batting slump. Right fielder Carl Furillo hitting .327, third highest in the league. Carl was beaned Monday night, but thanks to his plastic hat liner, he returned to the lineup the next day. Manager Charlie Gresson's club now enjoys a 5.5 game lead over Milwaukee, their longest of the season. Infielder Billy Cox is hitting .343 for the 60 games he's played. Billy's a handy man to have it short or third base. Center fielder Duke Snider, another big man in the batting department. Duke, Jackie Robinson, Furillo, and Hodges are among the National League's top 10 hitters. Hodges' hitting streak has been the most phenomenal. In the last 59 games, Gil has been clouting the ball at a tremendous clip. His record to date, 23 homers and 85 runs batted in. The slugging Brooks have won 10 of their last 11 games. The pitching staff has also taken a sharp turn for the better, with Carl Erskine and young Johnny Padres turning in some fine work recently. This weekend, the Brooks meet the second-place Milwaukees for a crucial series. The Flatbush faithful have their fingers crossed.
Southern California custom, the annual Flight of the Snowbirds gets underway in Newport Harbor. This affair is considered the world's greatest single yacht race. Nearly 125 of these 12-foot cat-rig craft are entered in this 6-mile sailing contest. Boat number 373 skims into the lead, setting the early pace. It takes skillful navigation to maneuver a craft in this seagoing traffic jam. There is no time handicap in this race. The first boat to cross the finish line wins. Just before the halfway point, 4 snowbirds are jockeying for the lead. Number 266, skippered by young Peter Frost of Balboa, goes to the front as they start the homeward leg. With plenty of wind in his sails, young Frost skims merrily over the finish line to win the 1953 Flight of the Snowbirds. Snowbird skipper Frost rules the small boat sportsman. International auto aces hit the starting line for the 500-kilometer Rams Grand Prix, the French equivalent of Indianapolis. Alberto Ascari of Italy, the world champion auto racer, is entered. So is Mike Hawthorne of Britain and the 2 Argentinian speeders, Juan Fanio and Jose Gonzalez. Gonzalez takes an early lead, followed by Ascari. Mike Hawthorne in car 20 is in 3rd place. All 3 are setting a blistering pace. The course is lightning fast, and the drivers pull out all the stops. No feather foots on the accelerator in this contest. Everyone's clipping along at 90 miles an hour or better. The course, almost 5 miles around, is part speedway and part country roads. Gonzalez still leads, with Hawthorne hanging right on his exhaust pipe. Catches him in the straightaway and almost leaves him flat-footed as he tears across the finish line more than 5 yards in front. Fanio takes second, just a radiator width ahead of countryman Gonzalez. A British driver and an Italian car beat 2 Argentinians in France's famous auto race.
It's a prom.
Yes, the spring of the curl proves it's a prom. Prom, the easy new self-neutralizing home permanent.
Prom is easy. I put on prom lotion, waited 30 minutes, then rinsed my hair with clean water. Now I can do whatever I please, even sleep, while my hair dries naturally on the curlers. You see, prom neutralizes itself. Night. Good morning. Now look at my new prom. Aren't the end curls springy? That proves it's a prom. Try it. You'll be a prom girl permanently.
Prom is the only self-neutralizing home permanent that gives you a choice of 3 different waving lotions. One just right for your hair. There's Prom Super for hard-to-wave hair and for children's resistant hair. Prom Very Gentle for easy-to-wave hair. Prom Regular for normal-to-wave hair.
So promise yourself a prom today.
And remember, Prom carries the Good Housekeeping seal of approval.
European whitewater experts convene at Augsburg in central Bavaria to pit their skill against the treacherous Loch River Channel in the international kayak slalom. The contestants must pass through gates and circle the pole, fighting the stream in both directions. Rounding the pole is particularly dangerous because the boat then is facing directly across the current. Heavy rains fail to stop the competitors and the spectators. Paddler Knoll of Munich shows the qualities needed to win this contest: a cool head and lots of courage. But only a few come through unscathed. A special detail of swimmers stationed along the banks help the capsized kayak men. Another contestant tackles the swift current. This is Leon Clares of Luxembourg. He capsizes right in front of our camera, but makes a miraculous recovery to continue down the course. Some 55 competitors, both men and women from 6 nations, are entered in this dramatic contest, which is considered merely a tune-up for the World Championships scheduled for Northern Italy later this year. Remember, rivermen thrive on this sort of activity. Now the distaff daredevils get their chance. Rosemarie Bissinger of Württemberg comes through to take the women's honors. The women's course is considered less difficult, although the current is just as treacherous. Whitewater experts shrug off spills like these. No matter how hazardous the course, they always come back for more.
Men, buy easy shaving Gillette blue blades in this dispenser with safety compartment for used blades. 20 for 98 cents, 10 for 49.
To look sharp every time you shave, to feel sharp and be on the ball, just be sharp. Use Gillette blue blades for the quickest, slickest shaves of all.
Next week at this same time, over these same stations, Gillette will again present highlights of the week in the world of sports. For an exciting on-the-spot review of the major sports events occurring between now and then, tune in the Gillette Cavalcade of Sports. Until then, smooth sailing, smooth shaving, and good night for your host, the Gillette Safety Razor Company. And say, how are you fixed for blades? Gillette Blue Blades, we mean.